Hello and welcome back to INMR. In today's podcast, I'm going to be analysing the 2-2 draw between Manchester City and Arsenal. Yesterday, Arsenal came so close to clipping City's wings, but in the 98th minute, John Stones equalised to keep City top and 2 points clear. We're going to be going through all the action, analysing all 4 goals and the different approaches Arsenal had in both the first and second half. So let's start off with the opener from City, just 9 minutes in. Overall, the first 45 minutes was not at all the match we expected. The goal 9 minutes in was something that we didn't expect at all. We were, a lot of us were expecting to see another 0-0 draw, but the chaos unfolded because both the managers decided to play a more assertive attacking style. Guardiola played direct wingers on both wings in response to the near success City had with wing play in the final stretch of the 0-0 draw back in March. But Arsenal's approach was the biggest surprise. From the outset, Arteta's side pressed aggressively into a man-to-man system, happily rushing out of their base positions to track individuals. Of course, there's pros and cons with this, and this tactic did lead to City's opener, but it also explains how they did score twice just after that. So as you can see here, Martinelli's got very, very tight to Kyle Walker just here. Calafiori's coming over to meet with Savinho. In the middle of the park, you've got Thomas Partey with Bernardo Silva, and then both of the centre-backs with Erling Haaland. And across all areas of the pitch, you can see that players are partnered up. As it progresses, though, and Savio gets the ball, Ricardo Calafiori is caught out of position. You've now got Gabriel Martinelli coming to try and track Savio. I think that's Gundogan in the middle getting away from Rice as well. And of course, Bernardo Silva's made that movement out to the wings, which Partey is struggling to track there. And that gap between both defenders is getting bigger and bigger, which of course Haaland then exploits. As you can see here, the gap is much bigger than it should be at this point. Partey's totally lost Bernardo Silva, who's made that run from the middle, as I said. Savio's away, free in the middle, which just can't happen. And then as you can see, he's got all this space to play into. That darker area there highlighting the abundance of space that Haaland had to go ahead and score in. I think this angle is the best one. Obviously, Ricardo Calafiori on the left-hand side here with 2 lines coming away from him. He should be with Savio on the ball. And then if you just look at the back line in general, the 3 of Timber, Gabriel and Saliba's good, but apart from that, it's really disjointed. And I think that's the danger that you've got by playing that man-to-man style, that Calafiori wasn't in position, and that's why Savio was able to get away. He could have just as easily played to Bernardo Silva, and to be honest, Calafiori was at fault for this goal. The technique on the finish was just ridiculous. At first it looked like a toe poke, but then as you look at the replay, he just smashed it straight with his laces, and it was a bizarre finish because we're used to seeing him opening up his body and sort of curl it into the far corner, but this time he just smashed it straight into the near post and put City 1-0 up. Arsenal equalised through Calafiori, so he made up for his initial mistake in the press, but it wasn't without controversy. There was a free kick for Arsenal in the middle of the park. It was actually 10 yards back from where Thomas Partey's taken it here. It was more where Saliba is. They brought it forward whilst Michael Oliver was talking to captains Bukayo Saka and Kyle Walker. The issue with this one is, as you can see, Kyle Walker complaining here, is that Michael Oliver called Kyle Walker over to have a chat with him, but didn't give him a chance to get into position. So Kyle Walker's caught out here because at the bottom of your screen, Gabriel Martinelli is totally free on the wing. Once again, you can see here Kyle Walker not happy at all talking to Michael Oliver as he's trying to track back, but Martinelli's gone. He's got into the dangerous area, cut it back to Calafiori, and the finish was just phenomenal. But that was a very controversial moment. To be honest, I agree with Kyle Walker. I do think, you can't call a player over and then drag him out of position, not give him a chance to get back. But at the end of the day, it was given a great finish, and Arsenal took advantage of the space in behind when they had it. The big ones again were the corners. Gabriel so dominant in the air from set pieces. If we take a look at the one before the goal, because initially Jeremy Doku was marking Gabriel, as you can see here, as the corners played in, Gabriel's already shimmied and made the movement behind. Doku is totally clueless now, and Gabriel instantly has the advantage. Another one here, you can just see the distance between Jeremy Doku and Gabriel as he goes up to take the header, and then as it's taken, this one doesn't go in, but you can just see Doku's totally lost his man. So then for the second one, Kyle Walker took Doku's place, as you can see here, but it was more of the same. Through the magnifying glass, you can see Gabriel preparing to do the same thing. Just as the corner's about to be taken, he drops his shoulder, goes behind, and from here, once again, Walker's finished. The distance is already too much, and as it gets closer and closer to the 6-yard box, it's still a massive distance, and I think this one portrays it best, because initially this doesn't look like a massive distance, but as you can see here from this angle, Walker is miles off it. as the ball comes in and Gabriel meets it, look how much higher he is than Kyle Walker. He's managed to get back, but not in a way that he's going to pose Gabriel any sort of threat to not scoring. He's a monster in the air. He's very, very difficult to mark. The drop of the shoulder, he's instantly gone. You can't see him. It's phenomenal, and obviously Arsenal have been notorious for their set pieces, and this is just another great example of it. So Arsenal headed into the half with the lead, but just before half time, Leandro Trossard was shown a second yellow card. Initially, this looked like what he was given the yellow card for, the foul on Bernardo Silva, but the Premier League confirmed at half time it was because he kicked the ball away just after, as you can see here. I asked you guys on Twitter what you thought, and 64% of you thought that Trossard shouldn't have been sent off. But as we know, under the new rules, kicking the ball away is a yellow card. However, there were other instances in this game and across the weekend where it wasn't punished. Unfortunately, Arsenal were just on the receiving end of that decision once again. So heading into the second half, Arsenal had to totally change their approach. This was their average positioning across the whole match. We're going to take a deeper look into the contrast between the first and second half in just a moment. But as you can see from these second half stats, Man City had 88% possession, 3 big chances, 28 shots, and David Raya was forced to make 8 saves, 413 passes to Arsenal's 60. It was total dominance from City in the second half, and Arsenal set up in sort of a 5-4 formation or sometimes even a 6-3. As you can see here, the difference between the average positions, so on the left hand side is average positions before subs were made, so this is more in the first half and earlier in the second half, and in the second half onwards, as the subs were made, you can see Arsenal dropped a lot. So Man City spent the majority of the second half just outside the 18-yard box, making little passes, trying to find the opening. They had 28 shots in the second half, as I said, but for most of it just couldn't find the breakthrough. The difference for me was the substitutes, and as you can see here, the average positions on the left-hand side again, the starting 11, and then on the right, the subs. I think the main one here is Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish. Doku, obviously number 11, a bit deeper, but when Grealish came on, his average position was right outside the box, getting really involved in the action. And in the end, he won the corner that led to the goal, and he was highly involved in the corner. He dragged it back for Kovacic, who took the shot, which resulted in the rebound for John Stones to get on the end of. If we take a look at that here, you can see Jack Grealish just on the left-hand side exchanging the pass with Ilkay Gundogan. He cuts it back for Mateo Kovacic, who has the shot on goal. And then this is just, it's very difficult to analyse this, which is why I haven't drawn lines, magnified anything, because there really isn't a lot to analyse. Jack Grealish came on and was electric as he normally is. He was shuffling, trying to draw the defender in, won the corner, which led to it, but that's as far as the analysis goes for this goal, in my opinion. He's cut it back to Kovacic. Kovacic has the shot. Look at the amount of bodies in that 6-yard box, and in the end, it swung City's way and they managed to scrape a point in the 98th minute. But overall, Arsenal did tremendously in defending, and they have shown City can be stopped. City surprisingly didn't use the wings very much. I thought, Grealish did when he came on, but aside from that, they weren't trying to stretch Arsenal's defence. They were often just keeping the ball in central areas, just passing amongst themselves and then having shots from the edge of the D. I think if Kevin De Bruyne was playing, he'd be the one trying to stretch the defence, playing passes out wide, forcing Arsenal to move about a bit in the box. But yeah, of course, in the end, the subs made the difference. Arsenal should be very proud of their performance. Is it going to make a massive difference come the end of the season? We'll just have to wait and see. There's still plenty of time to go. There could be so many more injuries that happen. Arsenal could beat them at the Emirates. There's no telling what this point is going to do, but it's brilliant for City, who, to be honest, didn't look like they were going to get anything from that game. And of course, John Stones pulling it out the bag very late on. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there are plenty of others you can go and watch. For extra content, go check out my website. That's inmrfootball.co.uk. On there you can find match reports, live blogs, club updates, and so much more. And if that's not enough, INMR is also on X and Instagram, so be sure to follow me on there for even more football content. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.